So recently, a lot of issues were there, and as per one international organization, the organization is COPE, Committee for Open Publication Ethics. This is an international organization, and this is basically for social science humanity. Like we have one international platform we call Scopus. So similarly, for ethical issues, we have COPE, and for science, we have WAM. So we'll discuss about that in detail. And that's why you might have noticed one thing in Delhi University, not in Delhi University, all the universities in India, they have been ordered by UGC that you need to run one program. We call it publication and ethics. So this publication and ethics has been introduced by all the university for MPhil program and PhD program. So it's a basically a two credit course. So under this course, we teach that when you start your research, what you need to do, you need to make sure that you are not supposed to copy any material which is available, maybe offline or online, and up to what extent you can use the existing material, and what should be the right way to use the existing material. Otherwise, anyone can sue you because there were a lot of cases, and according to COPE, they have mentioned that India had become a hub for this kind of activity, unfortunately. So UGC had taken a steps towards this plagiarism, towards this copy paste, and without any acknowledgement, without any citation, what you do, you take anything from internet and then you put your name and say this is my work. So this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. So there have been a lot of, okay, now I think I can share my screen. Yeah, I hope I am visible to all now.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. So let me show my presentation to all of you. Let me put myself a bit away. Okay. So, University Grant Commission has instructed all institutions in India that if you are promoting research, it's very obvious that each and every institution now they're supposed to promote research, and it's not only in department but in colleges also. College teachers they're supposed to write a good quality research. It's not like that someone you know has written something and you feel that I should take out something from that and something from other, something from third, fourth, fifth, sixth, a little bit from each and every article, and I make my own article. This is not so. So, and this ethical issue which is there in business research, it's not only related with the publication, because publication begin after you complete your research, and publication is a kind of reward or a award for a researcher, because outcome of your research should be there in the public domain, and your performance would be judged on the basis of that what is the impact factor of your article, what is the impact factor of your journal. And now we have H and I impact factor, which is related to individual performance. So maybe 5 year down the line, 10 year down the line, if you are working on a research project, if you're planning for MPhil or PhD, or if you are doing any research, the research would be useful when you publish the research outcome or output in terms of research paper or article form. And here what you need to do, so this is regarding publication on the one side, but before publication, now we need to understand that where this ethics come in research process. So in research process, you remember last time we had discussed the step-by-step research process. So on each and every step, you need to be very conscious. There are a lot of caveat on each and every step. That, for example, when you think of objectives, when you think of research objectives, how to define these research objectives so that your paper, your research work would have acceptance. So if you define that, okay, I had some idea, this is my area of interest. So on the basis of these two premises, I felt that I should start work on this particular topic. Will it be a right kind of justification ethically? Will it be a sound, justification for selection of your topic or selection of your objectives or selection of your problem? So from beginning, from scratch, what you need to do, whatever you do, whether it's a selection of a particular topic, which may be somewhere falling, which may be somewhere linked with your area of interest, that's absolutely fine. But you need to justify, because whenever we go for PhD Viva, MPhil Viva or research work, we ask what fascinated you to select this topic. So people will say that, see, this is very emerging, this is very, very hot topic. So everybody is doing research, so I thought I should start research on this. No, this is not a right justification. Because other are doing like this, because a lot of people are into this kind of topic. So you thought that you should also work on this. No, this is not a right kind of justification. So ethics is what? It's about what is right, what is wrong, and for each and every wrong and each and every right, you need to give justification, you need to defend. So this research, before publication, whatever you do, whatever process we have defined last time, each and every step you need to justify, you need to defend. So that is the beauty of ethics role in business research. Now, when I start teaching this business publication research ethics to MPhil and PhD student in Department of Commerce, the issue was that we had to discuss philosophy behind this ethics. And when you see a philosophy of ethics according to Indian culture, according to Indian tradition, according to Indian religious books, I mean, I don't see much work on that, but whenever I see philosophy related with ethics, all norms, all domain comes from Western world. So Socrates, Bentham, Mills, I hope you heard these all names, big names. They all talk about philosophy. And when they define philosophy, they justify that these terms were right and these terms were wrong. And they also explain why these things were wrong and why these things were right. So according to Bentham, Bentham was the philosopher, and he had given a justification for different activities in a society, in a community, or it's related with the policy also. So is it okay if someone has done some work, some research work, and without his or her permission, I take little bit from that work, little bit write up of that work, and similarly I collect some information from second article, third article, club together, and I cook my own article. Is it okay? Tell me everyone. Is it fine? So this is basically a Western concept. They teach a theory, they teach a case study in business schools, in law schools, and that is that is supporting Bentham philosophy of ethics, that is called utility or utilitarian theory. What happens in this theory, that when you have more utility in something, you give up the utility where which is of less use or less utility. So there was a case of Raymond Parker, who was a young boy, and he was going from one place to another place by sea, and unfortunately, I don't know what happened. Their ship was collapsed, but somehow they managed to survive on a boat. So they were four people, and the Raymond Parker was the youngest one. So out of these three others and these four Raymond Parker, they were in the sea on a boat without any food, without any water for next 9 days. Now it's very difficult for human beings to survive without food, without water. So it was very difficult how to survive, and they were not sure what will happen in the future, whether they will die or they will be able to survive. So Raymond was orphan, and what he did, he made a mistake. He he used seawater, and he used that seawater for drinking purpose. He drank that seawater. Unfortunately, when you take seawater, what happens? You start losing consciousness and you fall ill. So this happened with Raymond Parker. Now that was the day after, I mean ninth day after, ninth day, it was a fifth day, so 14th day. These three other people saw that Raymond Parker is not well, he will die soon. But if these three people are not going to get any food, any water, then they also will die with the Raymond Parker. So situation was very severe situation. Now tell me, is it okay if these three people kill Raymond Parker because he was supposed to die, right? Can we justify this theory? Because here, these three people, they have a family, but Mr. Raymond Parker, he was not having any family. So can we justify that these three people can kill Raymond Parker and eat his flesh and take his blood, use his blood as a water to drink? The reason of giving this background related with Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad or Brahma Sutra, that somewhere we all are part of Indian history, Indian society, Indian tradition. And Indian tradition, Indian history help us to understand that how we can live our life better. That is the ultimate goal. And ultimate goal would be in terms of happiness. What things will bring happiness to an individual, to a group, to a society, to a community, to a country. So it's a more than human development index, it's a human happiness index. And let me share very, very important thing over here, that our neighbor country, the Bhutan, the ranking of Bhutan in terms of happiness is much, much, much better than India. So it's not the things which are here around us, maybe in physical terms, maybe you can say property, car, or other good things, physical material things. But more than that, I think socialization, other things play a very, very important, or maybe closeness to nature that give you happiness. I'm not sure about it. So let me see what is happiness for you. So this is session 4 and we are talking about ethics and business research. So ethics on the one side, as UGC has mentioned, they say ethics not only for publication, but when you conduct your research, you need to justify each and every activity, each and every step of a research. So we start with the problem. Now you feel this is the problem you want to work on, you want to research on, but what you perceive, what you think, uh, you need to justify that others also feel like this problem also, other also feel this problem is existing. That's why I thought I should research on this particular topic or this particular objectives or these particular issues or problems. So that will come from review of literature. Review of literature, when you go through a review of literature, they will guide you that if you see a particular problem, other also have mentioned somewhere similar kind of problem. Now it is your duty as a researcher, as a scholar, to go through step by step research process and find out the solution. And secondly, very important thing you must note, that when you are justifying it, that for example, as I said, topic, how you will justify a topic. So justification of a topic should come from review of literature, where people have talked about a particular issue, particular problem, and they say that this kind of study was not done earlier. So someone else in future should take this and should work on this particular, concept, construct, or these kind of things. And that's why review of literature play a very, very important role. So whenever you go to the supervisor and request him or her that I'm doing my research, tell me, help me, what should I do? So first, they tell you that go to library and go through review of literature. So what is review of literature? It gonna justify your each and every step of a business research. So before, because this is just an introduction of ethics, what was the philosophy of Bentham? And Bentham, when he died, he had a dream. That dream was that his dead body should kept in a museum so that in future people can see. And he had a dream that he don't want to die. So what happened? He didn't want to die, and his body is still there in London. So he had a dream, and he had given this theory. So on the one side, the philosophy of ethics, that Indian philosophy. Then currently, when you're talking about business research or a publication, what kind of rules regulation, what kind of right things and wrong things are prevailing, you need to understand, you should know it. Here, very important thing, now UGC has given another instruction that beside this research and publication ethics, each and every department should have one committee who will justify that your research work is ethically sound, and they're supposed to sign on your research work. And what is this ethics? I give you one example. Generally what happens when you, because research work is not a individual task to perform, it's not possible that one individual person can do all research work. So collegiality is something which we develop as a scholar. So suppose I'm very good in basics of research, but I don't know much about SPSS or statistical tool. So you need to develop a collegiality who is very sound in SPSS, right? Now third person who is very good in survey, so you develop a collegiality with him or her. So it's a group task, it's a group work. So ethically, you need to draw a line that okay, this would be my work, this would be your work, and when our work is over, who gonna take credit? Because credit comes when you publish some papers, some article from that work which you have done. So who would be the first author? Who would be the second author? Who would be the third author? And sometime you oblige someone who has not done any work and you put his or her name also. So is it ethically sound? So ethical things play a very, very important role here also, that what is about funding. that government had ICSSR, UGC, DST had given you funding, lot of funding. Now, how to use that funding for research? Right? Your supervisor says something, you say something. So here you need to develop a such kind of ethically relationship that you need to perform your task in such a way that you're not going to harm the sentiments, you're not going to harm any activity. Especially in science, they say that you need to give in writing that you're not going to harm any animal or human being, right? And generally what happens in a social science, it's not a relationship of a institution and a scholar, relationship of supervisor and PhD scholar or a researcher, but more than that, generally our research is based on primary research. So you go and collect data. Have you ever taken a consent from the respondent? So you need to talk about that consent also. You need to take from the respondent that I am conducting this research. Please give me your consent. First they will give consent, then you can meet, then you can talk to them that this is my research topic, these kind of questions I have. And very important thing, note down that whatever information you collect from the respondent, you need to take consent first. Second, you need to promise that you will not use this information for commercial purpose. You will be using this information for the academic purpose, and it will not harm, and you will not share this information with someone else. So ethically there are different dimensions, different domains on each and every step of research, from objective analysis, research design, up to recommendation. All steps have ethical instructions, so we need to follow it. So consent from respondents. And then lot of time this happens, fabrication of a data. Sometimes you cook your own data without taking consent, without taking information from respondent. You collected respondent from 100, and with the help of software you make it double, triple, and you make it 1,000. Out of 100, whatever data you have collected, you cook your own data, and from 100 you make it 1,000. So this is something which has become a matter of concern. And so it's linked with each and every steps of a research, and not only about publication when actually you're conducting a research. And many cases what happens when you conduct a research on a particular community, especially when you conduct a research on a particular tribe, you need to live with them, you need to understand them. Once you understood their daily routine life, you understood why they behave, what they do, now you become a master of that particular community. When you become a master of a particular thing, now you know how to break the rules, how to misuse the information. That is also fall under ethical values when we talk about ethics in business research. So let me so today researchers are engaged in a lot of academic activities, teaching and responding to student of research, coping with new technology, and being more accountable. It's very true that now we are facing different tools and techniques. Now technology has become an integral part of our research. While doing this, they may have their own codes, culture, and values. So before you enter into a research, you have your own perception, you have your own thinking, right? What you need to do, you should not be biased. You should not be biased when you collect data. You should not be biased when you define problem. You should not be biased when you give recommendation. It should be on the basis of research, it should be basis of analysis, it should be basis on the past practices which are there in review of literature. So culture and values which may be in the conflict with institutional. So you may have conflict with your institution, with your supervisor. So they all fall under research ethics. The ethical issues are the conflicts, dilemma, and concerns that arise during the conduct of research. So as a researcher, you have a lot of dilemma. Oh my God, should I use this tool? Should I go for this advanced SPSS tools and techniques? Should I keep my response size 100, or should I go for stratified cluster random sampling? I mean, or what should be objectives? What should be hypothesis? You have a lot of dilemma, lot of dilemma. So here, and conflict arise, it may be because your supervisor is saying something and you feel something else. You have your own orientation, your supervisor, he or she had his own or her own orientation. Your friends tell you something else, right? Those who are in your class, those who are in research, they tell you something else. The media report tells something else. The magazines, journal, they tell something else. So you have a lot of conflict, you have dilemma, and finally, they all bring concern in your life. So what to do? How to conduct a research? These all, and here there are a lot of caveat that if you do any mistake, you fall into that trap that anyone will sue you and you would be in problem. You would be in problem because now legally anyone can sue you if you use his or her work, his or her publication, his or her research without their consent. And up to what extent? Up to what extent you can copy and paste? Up to what extent plagiarism is acceptable? These all are better of discussion. That's why we have this particular topic in this business research. So ethics play a very, very important role. And as I mentioned Socrates, Bentham, Mills, Chanakya, and then finally Brahmasutra I'm reading. So these are actually ancient historical uh, theory. This theory developed on the basis of experience, on the basis of practice. Now also when you think of research, when you conduct a research, whatever objectives you keep for your research, it should be supported by some logic or some theory. Now what is the theory and what is this logic? For example, what is human tendency when people work in a group? So when we talk about theory or logic, let me give one example. And when we assign a work to an individual to work as an individual, or when we assign a job to an individual to work in a team, in a group. I give you a real example which will reflect on human tendency according to Indian culture. Now what happens, I hope you all have noticed when children play a cricket on a street. This example I already have discussed with you, I hope in first session or second. What is the tendency? Tendency of each and every child is that he or she should play maximum, right? And if we give them half an hour to play, out of half an hour, 10-15 minutes, they will have a lot of dilemma, a lot of conflict. They will be fighting with each other. Only for 10-15 minutes actually they were playing. Why this is so? It's a human tendency. It's a human tendency that when you work in a team, you want recognition. That people should acknowledge you, people should recognize you. To overcome from this issue, you remember, whenever we have team, we give recognition that he is a captain, she is a captain, vice captain, right? So this kind of designation we offer to different people in a team so that they can work efficiently and effectively. So it's not only in India, other countries also. People they want as a human being that we should have recognition. People should respect. People should identify us, and not only you, your work. They should give some kind of recognition to your work or to your identity. So We all are very concerned, we all are very conscious that people should recognize our identity. So this is a human tendency. So whatever research you conduct, behind that, whatever philosophy, whatever logic, whatever reasoning, whatever theory is there, that you need to identify. So here we are talking about the logic and theory. So what logic you have used for your research, what theory you have used for your research, so that you need to justify. So your role would be not biased, that I know this particular philosophy, this logic work in this particular community, so it should work. It's not like that. Whatever analysis comes out, whatever they say, you should accept it, that okay, as you remember, we had talked about smoking and securing rates. I mean, perception is very simple, that how these two weird variables are linked. They are not linked at all. But on the basis of a research, we saw that there is a relationship. I hope you remember that case. So we need to be unbiased when we conduct our research. We cannot be biased. We cannot be a bias. So let me continue what we were talking about. Okay, so we were here, and from current slide. So here it's a ethical issue in business research. So this we have discussed. Now put some more light on ethics. The term ethics has been derived from the Greek word ethos, meaning character. Ethical issues arise at all stages of business and management research. So it's not that it's about publication. No, it's not about publication. It's about the all steps of a process of a research. Ethical issues are philosophical in nature, right? That's why I added philosophers, that they have given a logic for different activities, why these activities are justifiable. If you have any dilemma, just go and check the philosophy, you will have answer. So ethics are standards or behavior and norms which guide the behavior and relationship with others. Mahabharata, Ramayana, these all script, all these events were giving us some kind of understanding that what was ethically right, what was ethically wrong, and why these were ethically wrong and why these were ethically right. Justification has been mentioned. Justification. Sometimes it looks very odd that how a person can do like this, right? But ethics say that it's a philosophical, ethical are actually, it's a collaborative behavior. It's norms for the society. It's a behavior towards the society. So you cannot say that as I feel I am right, maybe it's not right for the society. So it should be overall. It should be overall. Right. So good ethics explain the concept of right and lack of it represent wrong and actions which do not harm others. Simple, very simple, as I mentioned. If you're going to have any profit at the cost of others, it's unethical. So ethical values can be described in terms of moral standards. Moral standards are rules which differentiate between right and wrong. In research, ethics ensure that no one is harmed and face any consequences as a result of the research activities so conducted. So when you conduct a research, as I mentioned, as a researcher in social science, you collect data from respondent. So what you need to do, you need to take consent from them. Consent in writing, that they are giving their consent so that you can collect data from them, you can talk to them, you can take their interview, and in writing you need to give that for what purpose you want to collect data, and you are not going to disclose this information to third party, and that the purpose of this research is academic and the purpose is not commercial, and you are not going to use this data, you are not going to sell this data to earn money, right? That in writing you should give to the respondent. However, unethical activities are prevailing, like misrepresentation of data. This is another variable. Uh, where actually what happens, you have developed a perception that it should like be this, and this has been the tradition, it has been the practice that you're supposed to reject your null hypothesis. Now, and the distribution of data should be normal. It should be normally distributed. If it is not, then you are in problem. So, and then what do? You go collect more and more data, more and more data. So, if you have a large data, it will take care of normal distribution. Okay, this is one thing you do. Then what do? You find out those who are odd information, you remove them, like we generally do, right? So that is absolutely fine because that is the under the domain of research, that is acceptable. But because you had some perception towards a particular phenomena, so you reflect that. That is not on the basis of analysis something comes out, but you had have your own opinion, you had your own perception that comes in the that reflect in your research. So that may be in terms of misrepresentation of data and disclosure of participants confidentiality. That is the matter of concern. You can't do it that you collect data from someone, age, income, gender, date of birth, right? So there are a lot of issues of privacy that when you collect data, you need to maintain the issue of privacy. You cannot disclose it to anyone. It's a matter of confidentiality. And sometimes, if you know about someone, you deceive people, and that that would be sometime you do a lot of activity to avoid legal liability also, right? So that is something we all understand, but we are not aware of that ethics is so important not only in our life but in our business research. So here we have one definition by Mark. In the context of research, ethics refers to the standards of behavior that guide your conduct in relation to the right of those who become the subject of your work. So here, your not only your rights are important, but the rights of those who give you information, their rights are also equivalently or more than your rights are, they are important or are affected by it. Standards of behavior will be guided by a number of influences. The appropriateness or acceptability of a researcher's conduct will be influenced by broader social norms of a behavior. So here, as I mentioned, what do you think may be wrong or right, but it should be within the domain of what community as a whole, what society as a whole think, and what is the acceptable in a society, in a community, in a state, in a country. So that play a very, very important role, and it finally moved towards Bentham theory. More and more benefit will have more and more utility. So then you can justify that it's beneficial to the society. So you need to follow those norms. You need to follow those moral values so that the society will be protected. The dynamics of society will remain there. So a social norms indicate the type of behavior that a person ought to adopt in a particular situation. So whatever phenomena, whatever situation arise, generally we all are in dilemma. What would happen? What decision should I take? So for that, just go through the philosophy, go through what had been the past practices, or maybe on the basis of past experience or logic, you need to develop an argument. And in the morning, I was taking one class, MBA class, and I was saying that it's perfectly all right that you are very smart, you are very good in reading and writing. But what do you need to do? You need to develop our communication skills. And when you communicate, you need to develop an argument. And these skills are very rare. And these skills comes when you understand practically something, you have learned something, you read a lot about that particular thing, you practice that, you experience that, and that gave you a competitive edge. and then you start developing premises and argument. And in B schools or maybe in commerce, it's a kind of learning that are you able to develop argument, are you able to give argument to different situation, and you need to give some kind of what we call argument, that okay, but for argument you need to develop premises, that these are the different premises, that's why, which is why I'm saying that this is right or this is wrong. So here this right and wrong, you need to have argument, and that argument will come when you read lot, you understand case study, you develop your own perception, and that perception should be supported with some review of literature. That is the beauty of this ethical values. Very important thing here, you see, as far as research and publication is concerned, what are the different emerging issues? Here you see different issues. We will talk each and every issue in detail maybe in next class, and with that our first unit would be over. So next class we'll just take this particular topic for half an hour, then remaining 1 hour we'll talk about second unit. So here you can see this is emerging issues in research. First, very common, it is prevailing nowadays, it talk about plagiarism. I hope you know the plagiarism concept. There are a lot of hue and cry recently. What should be the limit of plagiarism? Should it be 20, 30, 40? So UGC decided that up to 10% plagiarism is acceptable. You cannot go beyond that when you think of a publication. Second main issue arises when you think of ethical issues in research: integrity of data. Are you cooking your own data? Are you going for fabrication of a data? Right? So these are the matter of concern, because your research has got quite a good value, because you have been trusted lot in a society, because you are researcher. You all will become teacher or professor. So the respect of teacher, professor, scholar like you is quite high in a society. So whatever you present, whatever you say, people trust you, people believe in you. So if you cook your own data, right, if you feel that it's okay, data you collected from someone else, and you say that okay, this is the right kind of data, so this is not acceptable. Ethically it's not good, because people trust you and you break that trust. Next is related with publication practice and authorship. Here who gonna be a first author, second author, third author, and what would be your role as an author, right? So these kind of issues arise in many cases, where people fight, they go to court also for this justification that I did a lot of work but I am not a first author. So this is a matter of concern. And publication, here very important point you can note down. UGC and Government of India, they said that now try to go for open access information. What is this open access information? That instead of sending your paper to a journal, those who publish hard paper, or those who publish in hard copy, instead of going for hard copy, go for online publication, because it's going to save paper, not only paper. When you put information online, people can access your information. The matter of concern was that whatever you send for publication, the publisher charges for that, for your publication. If you want to get publish your paper, journals, publishers, they charge a huge amount. And the problem here is this is a money government going to give you. So use this money for research, and when you send paper for publication, you pay money. One thing. Second issue is that someone else is interested in reading your paper. They are also supposed to pay to subscribe your paper from that particular journal or publisher. So publisher and journal has double income from you as an author, because you want your paper should be published in this journal. It's a highly reputed journal, so they charge from you. And now someone else is interested in reading your paper, they will charge from them also. It's a double income for the publisher and journal. So UGC says that why this double income? It's a tax money. We are giving you to start some project, and this whole money comes to publisher or journal. So it's not ethically sound. So what they say, UGC say that send your paper to online publisher, those who are not charging anything. And secondly, these journal and publisher put all information in open access, in open domain, online domain, so that anyone can access your article, your paper, and your paper will have value when a lot of people go through your research, go through your paper and read your paper, then you will have maximum impact factor. So that is the kind of justification government has given. So now a lot of people, they prefer to send their paper in open access. A lot of journals also, they publish paper in open access, so that you're not supposed to pay for publication, you're not supposed to pay for subscription also. So that is linked with the publication and practices and authorship. Next is ownership of and access to data. You have collected this data and you got funding for that from ICSSR or UGC. ICSSR UGC says that you have collected this data. Now it should be a property of ICSSR and UGC, and it should be available in open domain so that people can further use this data. Otherwise, you have used, you will dump it, nobody will be using this data. Now data is everything. Google is number one because of information and data. So these government organization is putting a lot of pressure that you need to disclose this information. What you do, if you don't give it to ICSR or UGC, your institute, your department, your university should have some depository where you can put this data so that others can use it. And sometime when you send your paper for publication, you take permission from publisher that one copy you can keep in your university library in depository, so that anyone can access. If they are not able to access journal or publisher, they can access the data bank or data in depository in your institution. Then comes the storage and retention of data. It's about, I'm talking about that same thing, where you gonna keep your data. Then conflict of interest with all possible stakeholders you see when you are conducting a research. So that may be board of study, university, department, your colleague, your friends, your respondent, all those who are somewhere directly or indirectly linked with your research, they would be the part of this. So what I do, we have discussed something very important today, and I will put little bit more light on this issue next class, just for half an hour, and then we jump into a second unit. So for today, thank you very much for joining, and we'll continue in next session in next class.